Hey everybody, today I got a very budget-friendly optic that is a variable power Mildot reticle, and it's around the $50 price point. Here it is right here, the Simmons 3-9 by 40 ProTarget. Now it says TruePlex reticle on the box here, but in reality it is a Mildot reticle. It's a fully coated optic. This one is actually a 30mm tube, which is going to get a lot of light in the scope, and fog waterproof and shockproof. So all the basic essentials as you see here. And here it is right here, as you can see it. You have the adjustable turret caps. That way you can find your zero, mark it, and then adjust for holdover if you want. It does not have any type of parallax setting or side focus. It's just your bare bones scope to get you shooting, and with the Mildot reticle and the eye focus ring, it's definitely going to be an accurate scope. And I'll give you guys some tips and tricks to show you about this scope that help you out to get it to perform a little bit better. Now, with that said, as you see, I have the side shot clamp mounted on this 30mm tube. Again, going to get in more light and more clear image with that 30mm tube. I'm going to mount the side shot and get the phone in here and scan the field that's cut behind the trees here and show you just how clear this reticle is in scope overall. And again, this thing is super budget friendly. I believe it was $53 exactly plus tax at my local department store, aka Walmart. And it does not come with the scope mount, so I had to attach this. But it is mounted on my new Benjamin Aquila, which I'm just teasing you guys with this right now. I'm going to have a full review of this Aquila coming soon. But I have it mounted on the gun because I do want to mention about getting the scope leveled and centered. So let me get it hooked up to the side shot. Let's take a gander out in the field here. Okay, so we're out in the field, and I'm going to zoom the scope out a little bit. So that pine tree back there, not that one, there we go. That pine tree is probably about 100 yards, and I'm going to zoom it all the way in. And with that said, it looks crystal clear through the scope. And why is this significant? Well, I believe this scope is set at 100 yards parallax. And what happens is, if you're looking at anything else closer than that, on the highest setting of 9 power, since this is a 3-9, it's going to be a blurry image or kind of distorted. So what you need to do, kind of like there, right there, that's how we're probably about 35 yards out. All you have to do on these scopes that do not have any adjustment is just turn back the power, and as you can see, it's starting to clear up. So that is about 6 power right there. So 6 power at 35 yards, and it is crystal clear through the Simmons scope. So that is awesome. Now we go back out there, and it's still pretty clear because you're zoomed out. You're not distorting the image. So you really only need to use the full power when you're sighting in also, as to mention that. And if you're really using the holdover Mildots, because that's how it's calculated. The Mildots are actually 3.6 inches at 100 yards, if that's what the parallax is set at, and this reticle is true. And you can see even on the 6 power that it's still crystal clear at 100 yards. Then when I zoom in, just to be clear, as you see me scanning out in the field here, the image looks a little distorted at the highest power of 9 due to the fact that the side shot does not help because of the camera trying to record through lens, through lens, through lens, through lens, if you get my point. But to the naked eye, it is superbly clear, again, for the price point of the scope. If you're using the center of the reticle, there should be no POI shifting if you're just changing powers 3 to 9. About Now, if you're using the Mildots, that's a different story. The less of power increases the distance between the dots. So you'd really have to know your holdover if you're messing with the dots, unless you're always shooting on highest power of 9 in this scope. So now that I showed you just how clear the Simmons scope is, being non-adjustable in the parallax or side focus, you know, at the different power ranges at different yardages, and I believe again this is set at 100 yards parallax because that is the clearest it gets on the 9 power, but anything closer than that you have to turn it down. And I'm going to start off by shooting it at around 7 power at closer ranges than 100 yards. So right now I'm going to take one shot at 25 yards and one shot at 50, just to show you how I got this scope leveled, because that is a significance. Once you get the scope and mount it, if it's not mounted and leveled correctly, you're going to have a significant shift downrange. So I want to show you that, and I'm going to take again one shot at 25 yards and one shot at 50, just to show you how well the scope is leveled and zeroed. So let me show you that, and then I'll be right back. Okay, 25 yards with the plumb line down there, because the reticle is straight mounted on the gun here. Using that as my reference point, just to show you. Okay, so it should be vertically in line if I move the target from 25 yards where it's at to 50 yards now. If the reticle is straight up and down with the barrel alignment. Alright, getting my reticle lined up down there. There we go. Right in line. Woohoo! Dang. So as you've seen there, I had a camera downrange to show you the shot on impact. There was the first shot at 25 yards, and then I moved it out to 50 with my plumb line. I actually forgot where I was aiming, to tell you the truth, but that's okay. It's a straight up and down vertical line where my point of impact is. And that is a huge significance downrange. And here's why. If your scope is not straight and lined up to your barrel, you have to get that adjusted out, no matter if you have your scope mounted in your rings already off the gun and then mount it. It's all dependent on how it's mounted to the rail or the mounting system of the rifle itself. If that rail on the gun is not true to the barrel, then it'll never be true, and you'll always have a shift downrange at various distances. That is why I personally came up with my own leveling device called the no-lie level. A lot of you have seen it already and as to how it works, but that's why I did this, because this gun is horrible in alignment issues. It's a nice gun, don't get me wrong, but what I've already found out and had it for a couple weeks, it's not that true to the barrel. The rail of the bullpup design is angled away from the barrel. And you'll see pictures of this where I line the barrel up and the rail's off, and then when I line the rail up, the barrel's off. So with all this said, as you know what I covered here, for the price, the scope cannot be beat. How clear it is, being a 30mm optic, getting a lot of light in, you know, Mildot reticle, you're going to be able to do holdover with ease, and you're going to be able to adjust your turret caps to 0 and mark them and leave them there, and then you can adjust it out to however distance you want to sight in at, or whatever you need to do for holdover, which is pretty cool. Again, the downfall is that it does not have any type of parallax or side focus, but then again, you can get that out of the variable power ring, the 3 to 9. Again, like I mentioned, is that if you're closer than the 100 yards parallax on this scope, turn it down, and I'm shooting around 7 power right now, which makes it ultra clear at closer ranges. But if you zoom into 9, it's going to be a little bit distorted. So definitely an awesome scope. It has 4 Mildots up and down and left and right, so you get a really good holdover Very clear image for the money. Again, priced well in my book for a little over $50 as of this video. I am not complaining, just to get you out to shoot. But then it does come down to how well you have it mounted to the rifle you're mounting it to, because if you have a significant shift, it's not to blame the actual scope, it's to blame on how you have it mounted or how it got mounted and zeroed and leveled. So as you've seen, with it actually mounted correctly, the holdover was perfect. Vertically in line. That's why I like shooting with my plumb line downrange, so I can align my reticle to my target and then take the shots. But anyways, guys, I appreciate you watching the video. As always, I hope you like it. I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks again for watching.